Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. I am live with my guest, Monique Abraham. Listen, welcome to her Holistic Living Videocast. So, we are going to be talking about all things wellness. Why? Because health is wealth. We have to take care of ourselves. We have one life to live and one body to do it in. And so, I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. And then we're going to start talking a little bit about wellness, taking care of ourselves, especially those that are in the 40 and over club. Perry is probably beating on you. We talked about perimenopause last time. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about wellness and taking care of ourselves as women.
All right. Well, thank you for that warm introduction. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I am such a strong advocate for wellness, especially within the community. And even as women, we just go put ourselves second, third, fourth. We don't really make priority our health, our mental wellness. And so thank you for this platform to begin with. I am a holistic health practitioner. I deal with all things natural healing. I first started holistic coaching, which addresses the heart, mind, body, and spirit. Um, I'm, I'm I'm a church goer. I've been since I've been a little girl, and I was the only one going. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in a household, and I just felt the necessity to go to church. So I would walk there. I would get rides there while nobody else was going. But one thing I had noticed within that arena is that people were being spirit filled, and you will go to the altar, you lay it all down, but quickly get back into some of the things they were doing. And I said, well, God, what's going on with that? And that's what brought me to the holistic field, because I don't know how spiritual this channel is, but I felt like the spirit would leave or the hurt would go, but the mindset wouldn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have the tools once deliverance took place.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. So beyond the altar, that's a whole nother topic.
Come on.
So no, I got you there. And so I want to I kind of want to dive in because I feel like we're living in a day where people are, like you said, people are looking for solutions, but they don't really know what to look for. They don't know what they need. And so when I saw your business, somebody tagged you in a post that I put on Facebook, and I looked on there and I was like, I love it because it's like somebody already has everything put in place. You get what I'm saying? Versus I'm sitting here, you reading, okay, echinacea, what that do? Where I get echinacea, let me put some in a little bottle. And so I think, especially in the church world, we have been conditioned to think that natural sometimes meant ungodly. I want to be very careful.
That's good. That's good.
I do think we have to understand there is real divination, there is real witchcraft. However, using natural plants and herbs and minerals and vitamins to supplement your body and take care of you is not a bad thing. And so we be conditioned to think that's bad, but Doritos is good. That's bad, but 5 prescriptions is good. Right. And so I want to talk about, like, get more into like the stuff you offer. Like, how did you like do all your research to get all the stuff together? Because you got all type of stuff. And I saw them soursop leaves. I said, yeah, because I do soursop leaf tea myself.
Okay.
I'm a big proponent of soursop, but I want you to just kind of dive in there and talk a little bit more about all the things you offer, like more about how you got into this. I don't really think people understand that health is wealth. And I find that, and we can all be honest that most of us were not raised in a health conscious home. Most of us did not realize the dangers of the things we were eating because, like, hey, it's on the shelf. The FDA gave it the green light. And then you find out everybody and everything is the devil. And then you got to start unlearning some things, learning some new things, and just trying to be better stewards of the temple that God has given us. And so I want to kind of dive a little bit more into that and get a little more in depth into, your journey here and the things that you offer. And then I want to get more into some of the specific things and products and things that you offer. And so anybody knows me, like, it's not about selling product, but if she has something that could be beneficial to someone, if she has something that's better for somebody than a Snicker candy bar, I'd like for us to take the time to at least hear what she has to say. Sometimes we're skeptical of things that help us and embrace things that harm us. So let's go there.
All right. You brought up some great points there. Number one, every good and perfect thing was created by God. And, when you said that, I had like this bottle of acetone that was next to me. It made me think of it because, when you do your nails, you take the nail polish off, but the same product, you can sniff it and die. Okay. Like you have to be mindful of anything that you can consume, that of course you can use it for something else, right? When we go into divination and things of that nature. And that was a big part of my journey, that I've been doing this over 10 years, but a lot of stuff I was afraid to release. I had to educate my community, which is mostly a church community at that particular time. Like, I'm not in divination. I had to be so prayerful because I'm like, should I mix this? Am I, but
Right.
because it's, you have, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I'm a big advocate for, you have to do your own research. Don't even just take my word.
Right.
Of course, on my sites, I make sure that, I have ingredients that are listed, and
Mm-hmm.
often I have their medicinal properties on there
That's
too as well.
good.
So, this goes for this, but also you can go and fact check me, so we're not in the Stone Age anymore to where
Right.
we can't go and say, oh, I don't believe this person. Good. Be an
Yeah.
advocate for yourself. Go and see it for yourself, right? So, on this journey, I was misdiagnosed so many times, myself and my
Wow.
son. My son had eczema, and he kept getting these ear infections year after year after year. And I'm not talking about like 1 year and the next year, like 4 or 5 times within a
I
year.
got you.
And they were try to give him steroids and stuff like that. And one day I was just in prayer, like, oh my goodness, there has to be something better than this.
Then this. Yeah.
Has to be. And, and I remember one day, and I just took him to the ER. His temperature was like 106. And we
Oh.
just left. Excuse me, we just left. Came back, and I remember just praying, if you're a mother, or just a person who loves children, like, that breaks your heart when you feel like, what can I do? Like, I just, what else is there left? And I
Yeah.
had just started my holistic journey dealing with, herbs and oils and such. And it was like, at that moment when I prayed, God gave me the recipe. And that's when I first came out with my peace oil, that it kind of, you could use it for everything. Okay. But
Nice.
I rubbed him down with it after doing the mixture, and his temperature broke like this. And not only that, we took the journey to eczema that broke like this. And I'm like, okay, let me find out. Like, I've been missing out on these things. So again, I'm big at advocacy. Be your own advocate. Myself, I was made this diagnosis. They said I had anemia for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my cycle very early on in life. And the first 3 days, whether it was at school or whether it was at work, I missed
Mm-hmm.
3 days laying on the floor. So much pain.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible. And it wasn't until I got to like an African doctor, and she said, and because they tried to diagnose iron pills was too much. They was giving me prenatal pills without having a baby. Okay. And she was like, this is too much folic acid. And she was reading, she's like, why are you taking this? I said, because they said I have anemia. And she was like, no, 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 no. I think I know what's wrong. She said, and she was the first one who did full blood work on me.
Nice.
And from there, I began the journey to, womb healing,
Yeah.
and looked up the herbs and such, and then stopped the irregular cycles.
Yeah.
Was able to get pregnant. We didn't even go there. I
Yeah.
thought I was fertile because all of the depot shots they were giving me
Wow.
were infertile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know what you meant.
So I mean, I was like, can I have a kid?
Mhm.
And so my son is a miracle son as well.
Wow.
So everything you need to heal your body, I believe, is right here on God's green earth.
I totally agree. And at one point I would have disagreed with you and dug my heels into the sand, but I do agree. I just think it's a mindset. And I think sometimes because we tie we tie so many things to pagan practices and we don't know how to separate it. Soursop leaves is not going to send anybody out of the presence of the Lord eternally. And so we have to get some more understanding and realize that there are things in the earth that have healing properties,
Right.
medicinal properties that can help our bodies heal from the inside out to aid our bodies. And I just think we need to be a little more open. Now, I'm also one of those people that tells people if you know you have a litany of health issues and you take a lot of medication, do not take a lot of things not knowing that some things will counteract against
Absolutely.
medication. There are some natural things that will stifle blood pressure medication. There are some natural things that can kind of hinder or work against, make it simple, work against certain medications. So it is important that if you are going to try some natural remedies, that you do so in agreement with your doctor so that they know, hey, this, so they'll know, they'll be able to tell you, hey, that will mess with that medication or it'll cause it to not be as effective. And, depending on what you're taking it for, that could be very, very, very important. And so, if a person stops taking their high blood pressure medicine and they're prone to having a stroke, it's important to know that if you're taking something and it diminishes that blood pressure medicine from working or those blood thinners from working correctly, you don't want to cause something, you don't want to cause another problem trying to fix one. So it's so
Absolutely.
important that you work with your doctor if you want to try something natural. Now, for those, even people that aren't on any medication, you still want to make sure you know what this does in the body and make sure that you're not taking more than is needed, because even too much water will kill you. Anything excessive in your body, you can cause harm, even if it's something natural. And so we have to, we want to make sure we have, clarity and understanding. That's why a lot of things they'll say, hey, take this once. So like when I drink my soursop tea, that's something I like to do in the morning. I don't drink soursop tea 10 times a day. So I do that usually, once a day or a couple times a week or whatever. But I want to talk a little bit about some of your products, some of the things you offer, and what they do. You said stuff about the womb. Like, what do you offer? A lot of women, especially since the last Her Holistic Living video cast that I did, it was 3 of us and we were talking about perimenopause. So what do you have for those that are in an entanglement, being kidnapped by Perry and don't want to be? So like that irregular menstrual cycles is something that can happen.
Yes.
Breakthrough menstrual cycles and breakthrough bleeding can happen when people are going through perimenopause. But what are some of the things that can kind of help? I mean, nothing's going to take it away. We have to go through the change of life. Some things we can't get away from. We're going to age, and we have to understand that basically when we start going through perimenopause, that's the body saying, hey, I'm getting ready to shut the factory down. But it's your body's way of preparing you, and your hormones change because the hormones that keep your reproductive system going, those things start to fade down when you hit those years where you're getting closer to no longer being able to produce and carry a child. So let's talk about some of the stuff you have for perimenopause. Let's talk about some of the stuff you have just for overall wellness, eczema, anything like that. Let's talk about it.
Wonderful. Well, I like to say you did bring up a great point when you said about herbs are medicine. And I keep advocating for that because people are like, I'm gonna take this and this, and I sell a lot of loose herbs. And I'm like, it's not the same as a package that I have because I make sure how much of which herb I have in there to create a balance of a thing.
Right.
Right. But people sometimes they just throwing stuff in there and they say, well, I had a reaction. And I was like, they said, I think I might have took too much. I said, you probably did. you know? Um, So let's talk, a lot of my mixes, they're specialty mixes where I understand that there are some herbs, roots are very, are strong, and a lot of times they're bitters. So I create a balance between the bitters and the herbs that actually create balance. Like, so you're going to have your roses. Roses are good. Vitamin C, give you that good immune system boost in there. They're pretty when they're floating in your tea.
Nice.
Right, but it's also good for your blood and such as well. I'm going to use things like yarrow. Yarrow is a great womb earth as well. But again, if they're taking other medications, I have different approaches. I might tell them first to go to Eve, because Eve's going to have a foundation of some of the very basic herbs that first is going to deal with your mental health. Because with
What is
anything,
Eve? Tell them what Eve is.
so Eve is a tea that's going to deal with your blood, and it's going to deal with your womb, just the overall cycle and the balance of your hormones again,
Okay.
right? So if I have somebody who's like a little iffy about it, say, hey, well, start here at the basic, because we want to deal with your mood, and we want to, you may not even be going through menopause. Because a lot of times people come there, they're not diagnosed or anything like that. They're just like, I think this is this. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
received it, and they're not even in that journey yet. They're just irregular. So let's make
Mm.
sure that you're
Yeah.
there first, right? And that's going to have your raspberry leaves, things of that nature. I love sage. And not smudging a house, but sage
We
in the
not
tea.
smudging, saints. We not smudging. But y'all get all hype and try to
Look,
cancel culture us. We
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
smudging.
yeah.
Hear
You got
her
to be
out.
very clear on it. Exactly. I did a video the other day. I was like, you could drink it up, as a tea. It's a very calming herb, and you still have to balance the amount that you put in there. But starting on that journey to make sure that, am I stressed?
Yes, that's
You
a big
know,
one. That's a big one. Stress is big on your mental health and physical health. So we definitely have to reduce stress. Keep going.
So stress will take you out of here. So we want to do that
Yes.
first. We want to definitely deal with that. I graduate them, and the first thing I do, and then you can really see if somebody is, under stress. I had someone come into the shop the other day, and she was going on and on. I'm looking at her, and I was like, you need to do something with your stress levels. Let's do that first. She said, well, I don't think I'm stressed. I just worry about this, and that's stress. And because in the community, we have, just because we can work and be stressed and depressed,
Yeah.
so you don't look for those signs, because you feel it's almost like a working alcoholic, where they feel like it's not really a problem because I can still do my thing. Like, I'm still going to work every day, but you still have an underlying problem that, if it's not dealt with, it will carry on into your day to day, your
Yeah.
health. You know,
Yeah.
so I tell people, like, just because you're still actively going places and doing things, it does not mean that your heart is not irregular because you're going
Right.
through this, right? It doesn't mean that because you're tossing and turning at night. Look for the signs, as far as seeing, it's like, oh yeah, I do those things. So we do a check off list. I'm big at that as well, just to make sure that I am suggesting the correct herbs. I have a peace oil that's good, that we talked about earlier, that's great for the eczema, that's great for taking your temperature down, but also inflammation and pain. I have a high grade hemp seed oil, not THC. Okay.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
it's that I'm against it done the right way. But
Right.
but it's great for inflammation. I get a lot of, especially elderly, who say, my oil, baby. They want to rub it
Does
on their
that help with
elbows.
because I know a lot of people, this is not for me, but I
Okay.
do know other people that suffer from arthritis, which obviously is
Absolutely.
inflammation in the joints. That will something like that could help.
Absolutely.
Do you have any magnesium? Anything with
Yeah.
magnesium?
Yes, I do. I'm actually working on a butter right
Nice.
now. Yeah, so it's funny that you said that. I'm a big vitamin person as well.
Okay.
D2 3. Make sure you're absorbing it the correct way. I add vitamin C to some of the products, such as the emergent tea I have.
Okay.
And it's going to have your immune boosting herbs like moringa, mullein, helping your
Nice.
respiratory system, elderberry, of course, everybody,
Oh,
elderberry.
yeah.
But did you know you can elderberry, you use it too much, and not in the right proportion, your body can get immune to it.
So I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So with the is that the only, number one, is that the only immune product you have? Because I'm big on, like, right now, after what we went through 5 years ago, I'm trying not to get censored on here. But after
Right.
what we went through 5 years ago, I think it's wise that we keep our immune systems boosted,
Hmm.
on top of trying to eat clean and moving more. But can you, I guess I'm trying to, so we have that immunity. Do you have any other immune, any other any other products to boost the immune system? And then it was something else I was going to say, I can't remember, but do you have any other immune system products?
I
Anything that
do.
helps us boost our immune systems, so that, as different things is flying through the air, it don't get us.
Right, absolutely. So I have quite a few that helps with the immune system while also dealing with something that's more aggressive. Like I have a worm and parasite tea that is going to boost your immune system, but it's also going to free your body of free radicals. The toxins that we,
Mhm.
cancerous
Yeah.
toxins in a lot of our foods, and unfortunately, things of that nature. So it kind of helps to pull that stuff out. You might see a different kind of stool in there because it's you'll actually feel yourself getting cleansed, and that's going to have things like black walnut in there. That's a very aggressive herb. I wouldn't just suggest like picking it up. A lot of times people say, "Oh, look, I had a headache from it," things of that nature, because they don't know how to properly use it. Now,
Gotcha.
of course, it's a strong bitter, that is meant to be strong, but you have to drink a lot of water after. But I, of course, leave those directions, with the products that I have as
Product.
well. Also have Exodus. If you'll notice, even on my site, I have a bunch of teas that are biblically related.
Okay.
But Exodus is just your overall immune system and lymphatic system as well.
Okay.
So it's going to help, with both of those aspects, and it's also have, for smokers or people trying to get better with their respiratory system. Also have a respiratory tea as well. That's gonna help to get that mucus out of your chest.
That's good.
Various different immune system teas.
Well, listen, so I guess we're gonna have to go on the website and see what's there. And because I definitely was on there a couple of times, and I was just looking at some things. And so I do kind of want to go back how you mentioned the excuse me, immune system and lymphatic system. Now I remember my other question. So your
Okay.
lymphatic system, for those that don't know, I never assume people know. Your lymphatic system is a system in your body that helps to kind of get waste out. Its role is to kind of get a lot of waste out. Your immune system is an organless system that works to try to protect your body against different pathogens and other infections and things like that. So your immune system is the part that is almost like no limit soldiers. They trying to fight against anything that's trying to come and infiltrate your body and infect your body and things like that. But I wanted to ask you, what have your reviews been? And then, are you putting a lot of these products together yourself? So I'm not asking for like the nitty gritty. Keep your IP. But what I'm wondering is, like, are you taking any of this stuff and taking raw ingredients and putting them together yourself? That's what I'm asking. Like, as far as your teas and some of the things like that.
I do, from the labels to the recipe, everything.
Oh,
One stop shop. Yeah, and I make
okay.
some custom orders when they come to the shop as well, or when they inquire through email or phone. So I've made a lot of custom teas as well. But yeah, I definitely create my own mixes. It helps me to also have control over what's amount is being put in. You
Yeah.
know, I'm big at that. And I know at some point I'm going to have to lose some reins, because with growth, that happens. But I want them to stick clear with the recipes and
Yeah.
the amounts that I have, because I believe that they work. When you spoke about reviews and such, I haven't had a bad one. What you said, knock
Good.
on wood.
No, good, good, good. What has been the response? What are people saying? Like, are there any testimonies, anything
Yes.
like that? Like, share some of that.
I'm so grateful every time I hear testimonies. It just warms my heart, because like I'm very prayerful over the things that I make. I call myself the prophetic herbalist,
Nice.
because there are like millions of plants. I
Yeah.
mean, you can never have enough. And I remember one time I was just trying to get every plant known to man. I was like, I cannot afford this. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
get so many plants. And it was like, you don't have to get what works, you know. So that was my journey, getting what works. And again, I started with myself and then I graduated up. And I've gotten, hey, I was able to clear my eczema. Hey, I no longer, especially with the oil, oh, they just go bonkers. They'll say,
Talk about the peace oil.
yeah, it's the peace oil.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear a lot of reviews concerning it. Like, I had a lady just last week. One of the heartfelt stories. She had been laying down for like 3 months, and her husband came to get her some supplies, and he asked for some sea moss, and he wanted to try the oil, and I was trying to get him to get the tea, but me, I just who I am. I made a couple of batches for her anyways, just so to get her started so she could see. She was laying down for like 3 months, couldn't get up, back pain.
Yeah.
And I gave them directions on how to do it. And they came like right back and with their testimony. And she was like, ma'am, she said, I've been in bed for 3 months. And they didn't know. I could have cried right there.
How soon after did she see results?
I mean, she was feeling better. Like that day they text me and it was like, well, oh my goodness, that oil works great. The reason why they had to come back the next week was because we just got a bunch of snow and their kids had spilled the oil, and it was like he was trying to come in the snow. I was like, listen, we don't we don't
Because
need to do that.
you're down south, right?
Yes, I'm in
Yeah, they
Georgia.
can't drive down there. See, I'm
Yeah,
in
listen, I'm
Michigan.
like, yeah.
It'd be a blizzard. We still rolling.
Right now, yeah. I'm in Georgia, and I was like, listen, don't.
Don't do it.
I understand what happened. I don't know if you need to squip it off the floor or what, but we don't need you riding in the snow. Okay. So they came and she was driving this time. And then she was like, I was like, okay. So this is your wife. He's like, yeah. He's like, and she was just like, ma'am, I'm just, wow. She's, I was there for 3 months. And I'm on my second batch of the tea you made me. I'm just so very grateful.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah. And I get a bunch of text messages all the time. Hey, my cycle is finally, good. Oh my, I was having so much pain. Nothing but your Eve. Can you got that Eve, girl? I got the endometriosis tea for PCOS, and they're like, oh my goodness. She's like, oh, I felt a little pain, and I saw the stuff come through. I don't. They
Mm,
they look back and they didn't have to do surgery, and
nice.
there was a time again when you were talking about like the balance between the church and wondering, if this was, a practice that I should do,
Right,
because it
right.
was in my mind for many years, and I would privately do it, or but I wasn't really as public with it because
We
I
gotta
felt
be
like I had.
hiding sour
Yeah.
south. Nobody know. Just me and G. Come on, Saints, please. We
Like
got
God didn't
bigger
create
fish
all
to
the plants.
fry.
Like
We
God
got
didn't create all the plants.
y'all finna take this lady out of the church for a cup of tea. Come on, Saints. Can we do better? My goodness.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's like I had to educate,
Yeah.
educate, educate. And I'm like, well, God created the plants.
Yeah.
Every good and perfect thing comes from the Lord. And God had to really deal with me on that. And then the more testimonies, and I'm like, okay, I'm putting out there. Cause like I said, I was doing it for years, but it's kind of like I'm like blooming out of my shell more, maybe the
Yeah.
last 5 years.
Nice.
Yes. And when I say over 10 years, so it's probably really like my 15th. But I just was
You
undercover
was
living
hiding.
and using some herbs.
You was underground. You was
Yeah,
underground dealer. Listen, it's
I got
isn't
something
it
for you.
isn't it crazy that we can watch commercials talk about how a medication to stop your toe from hurting can lead to brain bleeds, collapsed lungs, and death. And we'll trust that over trying something natural.
I know.
I mean, it's and I'm not knocking pharmaceutical. People got to
No.
take what they got to take. They got to do what they got to do. However, it's just the mindset that we believe everything over there is okay, even though sometimes the secondary effects, that's my joke, the secondary effects is worse than the problem is trying to fix. And so, yeah, it's our mindset. I think sometimes when we think about natural things, we think about, like I said, paganism, we think about other beliefs, we think about things like that, instead of realizing that, number one, before there was big pharma, there was always herbs and plants and medicine. They knew when people had certain wounds, they would put certain plants and herbs on it so that it would heal, and bind it so that it wouldn't get infected. And so I think sometimes with things being modernized and the way we see things, we don't realize that that's open to anything. A plant can heal anybody, regardless of what they believe. Soursop is good for the body, no matter what your belief system is. And so, yeah, so hopefully they don't tar and feather me. But no, so I need listen, we got to get ready to get out of here. I want you to tell people what your website is, where they can find you, all that stuff. Give people all the information, how they can connect with you, how they can get to your website and find your products and different things like that.
All right. So again, thank you for this opportunity. You can go to Motha, that's Motha, Motha.
Gotcha.
Eden.com. That's my site. I'm in Warner Robins, Georgia, with a brick and mortar on 225 Ignico. So you guys come on through. Again, be an advocate for yourself. We perish from a lack of knowledge. So before we say God is not in something, do your research, and most importantly, pray about it.
Amen. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really think what you're doing is we're going to see a greater increase on it. We're going to see a greater demand on it. Just in a general holistic wellness, integrative care, alternative things. People are going to start looking into that stuff more. So trust me, I think you're on the right path. You're trailblazing. You're ahead of the curve. If you've been doing this for 15 years, and I think that what you're doing is really going to take off in the days to come. So thank you so much to my guest, Monique Abraham. And thank you all for tuning in. God bless you all.